All right, today what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little bit of review, and we're gonna review some rates, ratios, proportions, and similar figures. Not a lot of similar figures because we just got through dealing with that, but rates, ratios, proportions, definitely gonna hit on, and we're just gonna get into it. Teacher bought 30 pencils and 12 pens. What is the ratio of pens to pencils? Okay, so on questions like this, they may ask you different things. What is the ratio of pens to total? Pencils to total, pencils to pen. So they may ask you a whole bunch of different things. Pay attention to what they're actually asking you. Because what they may do is this one. What is the ratio of pens to total? So you need to know like 3 things. You need to know how many pens there are, how many pencils, and then you need to know the total of it. And then you need to pay attention. What is actually being asked? So up here, what is the ratio of pens to pencils? Well, they tell you how to do this the right way first. Pens to pencils. So pens on top, over pencils. But then you got to check, does this reduce? And if it reduces, you need to reduce it because it needs to be in its simplest form. So 12 over 30, it reduces. You can divide by 3, divide by 3. 12 divided by 3 gets you 4. 30 divided by 3 gets you 10. But check it, because it may not be completely reduced. That reduces again. Divide by 2, divide by 2, 2 over 5. Right here is your ratio, 2 over 5. Okay, what is the ratio of pens to pencils? Well, it's 2 to 5. 2 pens per 5 pencils. And I may even have to label it. Because what they might do is they might say this, 2 over 5 pencils to pens. And then over here they might say 2 over 5 pens to pencils. Pay attention. Know what the numbers are representing, because they may actually have the number there listed twice, but they may have these 2 labels incorrectly. So watch that. Pay attention. What is ratio of pens to total? Well, they didn't give me the total. So now I've got to go find it. Well, what is the total? Well, they bought 30 pencils and 12 pens. If I add those 2 things together, I've got my total. Now, they might have come in here and they might have said, your total is 42 and 30 pencils, the rest were pens. How many pens do you have? Pay attention to that. Watch what they're giving you. Okay, so understand how that's going. 30 pencils, 12 pens, add those 2 together. 42. So I got a 42 total. But now I need to set up my ratio. Ratio of pens to total. Well, the pens, 12 over 42. And now I have to reduce. So I'm going to reduce. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Gives me 6 over 21. 3 goes into both of those. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. Gets me 2 over 7. 2 over 7. So now, 2 pens per total. Pay attention. Watch, because they might have said switch these, or they might have put that as pencils. Be careful. Watch what they're giving you. Okay? Don't just go, oh, 2 over 7, that's it. Because watch your labeling. All right, pencils to total. So now we need our pencils. Okay, we have 30 pencils over the total of 42, because we already found that. We know what that is. Over 42. And then we reduce again. Let's see here. Should be able to divide this. We'll do the easy way. Divide by 2 gets us 15 over 21. Divide by 3, divide by 3. And guys, I understand that I could have done 6 in there. I just want to make sure that you see that you got to keep reducing all the way through. Okay? 5 over 7. Again, pencils, total, label it correctly. And then here they go, pencils to pen. Well, didn't we just do pens to pencils? Well, it should be just flipped over, right? Pencils to pens. So 5/2. And it's the same thing except that I would have put 30 over, here I'll show you, 30/12. And then it reduces down to 5/2. And again, label it correctly. Pencils, pens. Make sure you label correctly. They'll mess with you and you'll get it wrong because you don't watch how they're labeling it. Be careful with that. But this question right here, I think there's like 3 or 4 of these types of questions on there where they give you 2 out of the 3 and they expect you to be able to find the third number. Okay, so pay attention to what they have given you and what you're getting back out of it. Here they gave you the 2 numbers and that's what the total is. Others, they're going to give you the total and one of the other numbers and expect you to subtract it to get to that other number. Pay attention. All right, 3/4 of a pound of meat in six containers. How much will each container hold if they each get the same amount? So we can set this ratio up. It's just a ratio. That's all it is. 3/4 over 6. But this is a complex fraction. It's not that big deal, but it is a complex fraction. I want this. I want to know how much each one gets. That's your unit rate. When I want to know how much each one gets, that's unit rate. How do I get a unit rate? I divide by this number down here. So divide by 6. Divide by 6. Okay, but how do we, when we have fractions, how do we divide? Well, first off, we got to turn this actually into a fraction. And then we got to do our keep, change, flip. Multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so this is going to be multiplied by the reciprocal. This works. 6 divided by 6 gets us 1. So down here on the bottom here, I know my bottom number is 1. And I'm good down there. But up here, I got 3/4 divided by 6/1. I got to multiply by the reciprocal. That's how I divide. So I'm going to do that. Okay? I'm going to come through here, and I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. Multiply by 1/6. And then all I do is multiply straight across. I could reduce early if I wanted to, or I can multiply straight across and then reduce. Okay? I like to reduce early, but I'm going to show you the multiply straight across because I think most of you are going to do that. 3 times 1 is 3. 6 times 4 is 24. Make sure I got that right. Yep. And now I'm going to reduce. But what do I reduce by? Well, a number that goes into both of these equally. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. Gets me 1/8/1. Okay, so 1/8 of a pound, 1/8 of a pound per 1 container. 1/8 of a pound per each 1 container. This is my unit rate. This looks a whole lot uglier than what it is. Okay, just divide by the bottom number. I had to multiply by the reciprocal just because it was a fraction. That was fraction rule. And then reduce my fraction. Then I have pounds per 1 container. Make sure you label it correctly. Pay attention to this. You can do this one. This one's doable. Okay? A spinner spins 30 times every 8 seconds. Which ratio is not equivalent? So now, watch this. Which one is not? Pay attention, because I know for sure there's one of these questions on there. Not equivalent. Not the same. That's what you're looking for. Not the same. All right? A spinner spins 30 times every 8 seconds. Which ratio is not the same? 30/8. Now we find our unit rate, and we're going to go from there. As a lot of these problems can be solved just by finding your unit rate. All right, so I want to know how much for 1 second. So I'm just going to divide. Divide by 8. Divide by 8. And I'm going to use a calculator for it, make it a little bit easier, because I know for sure it's going to be a decimal. 30 divided by 8. Yeah. So I've got 3.75 per 1 second. So 3.75 0.75 spins per 1 second. So I'm looking for the one that is not this unit rate. So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to set up all of these as a ratio and find the unit rate on each one. So 60 spins per 16 seconds. So 60 over 16. And now guys, look. What did they do here? They just multiplied by 2. 60, 30, 16, 8. This should be an equivalent ratio. But let's check it anyways. 60 divided by 16. 60 divided by 16. Yeah. 3.75 over 1. Or 3.75 spins per second. That's equivalent. And now here, 3.75 spins per 1 second, that is your unit rate. When you have a 1 on the bottom, that's your unit rate. So here, I don't even have to check it. This lines up exactly with what we just found. We're good there. All right, here, 9 spins per 2 seconds. Okay, set it up. 9 over 2, 9 spins per 2 seconds. Divide, 9 divided by 2. 4.5 over 1. 4.5 spins per 1 second. My unit rate does not line up with the same unit rate here. Here is my answer. This one is not equivalent. These two for sure were equivalent, but let's check this last one just to make sure because we don't want to mess this up. 7.5 divided by 2. 7.5 over 2. And guys, use your calculator on this, make it easy. Divided by 2, yeah, equals 3.75 over 1. 3.75 spins per 1 second. Guys, all I'm looking for is the one that's not equivalent, not the same. That's all there is to that. All right. So here we're looking at our similar figures. Okay? Our similar figure, we have our triangle, and really it should look something like this and be there. All right. So what they're saying here is that this big triangle is similar to this little triangle, and we want to know what the length of this line is. All right. So we can set this up. X over 12 equals, we're just going to set up our proportion. That's all we're doing. X over 12. So our small triangle over our big triangle. That's what we're looking at here. X over 12. Small triangle over big triangle. X over 12 equals small triangle on top. So we know that this line goes right there. Now a lot of you, what you're going to do is you're going to try and do this 6 right down here. But that's not going to work. Because this big triangle, this line right here, is not from here to here. It's from here to here. So you need to add these two numbers for this number right down here. So pay attention to that. Watch that. I guarantee you that you're going to mess that up at least once. Pay attention. So from here to here, 6 plus 4 is 10. And now from here, all I do is cross multiply and divide. Multiply right here, divide here. That's all you have to do. 12 times 4, divide it by 10. And then you get your x. I'm not going to do that because it doesn't come out even. But that's all you're having to do. 12 times 4, divided by 10. That's all that, very simple. Okay? There's another type of problem that they're going to give you on this. It's the shadow problem, right? You have a tree that's this tall, okay? Leaves a shadow this long. You're this tall. You leave a shadow this long, okay? And it's kind of set up the same kind of scenario, right? They want to know how tall the tree is. You're this tall, 6 feet. You have a shadow of 3 feet. This has a shadow of 12 feet. And you set it up, okay? x over 6 equals 12 over 3, cross multiply, divide. Same type of question, and shadow question, same type of question. Okay, so here, and I forgot to write the question of what this actually is. All right, so first thing first is this line proportional? Okay, and you can tell how a line on a graph is proportional if it runs through 0, 0, and is a straight line. Okay, so that's first, there's a question like that. Which line on this graph is proportional? Well, on a graph, you tell if it's proportional if it goes through 0, 0, and it's a straight line. Okay, so this line's proportional. That works. But then they give you these ordered pairs and they say, which one of these is your unit rate? Well, when you do your constant of proportionality, okay, equals y over x, this lets you find your unit rate because when x is 1, that's your unit rate. So which one over here has an x of 1? Well, this one doesn't. Remember, these are your x's, these are your y's. X, y, x, y, x, y. X before y. Okay? So you take this, 0 over 0, well that doesn't work, that's not a unit rate because the bottom number is not 1. 2 over 1, that's a unit rate. Again, or I'm sorry, 2.3 over 1. That's a unit rate. When the bottom number here is 1, you have a unit rate. But they're trying to get you to use this to determine which one of these is your unit rate. That's what they're trying to get you to do. All right, 4.6 over 2. Well, the bottom number isn't 1, therefore it's not a unit rate. Same thing down here, 11.5 over 5, not a unit rate. It can reduce down to 1, and it'll give you 1, but it's not the actual unit rate. Right here is your unit rate. 2.3 over 1, you're good to go. Again, they're trying to get you to use this to determine what the unit rate is. That's what it is. So when x is 1, you have your unit rate. That's all it is. Not that big deal. All right. 8 books in 3 weeks. How many books per week? Again, looking for the unit rate. Most of the problems we have here can be solved using our unit rate. 8 books in 3 weeks. How many books per week? It's a simple deal. 8 over 3. Now we're reducing. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. And I don't remember how much that is, so I'm going to grab a calculator. 8 divided by 3. That's 2.6 repeating over 1. That's what it is. And they might actually ask you to do that as a fraction, so 2 2/3 over 1. That's all that is. Okay? There's some of these, the easy ones, we got to get these right. These we got to get right. 2 2/3 books per week. All right, guys. If you have any questions, you need any help, let me know. We should be okay on this test.